What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Tweener Head Tennis channel. Today we have a very special interview with Heath Davidson. He has won the quad wheelchair doubles title at the Australian Open 4 times now. He has a 4-time Grand Slam doubles champion and a Rio Paralympic gold medalist. It was really fun to talk to him about his experience of how he started playing tennis, how he got into the sport, how he took a 10-year hiatus essentially, and then came back to play and had immediate success. So I'm very glad to share his story and to talk to him about his experience. If you want to check him out on all his social medias and follow his journey, check out all the links down below in the description. Also, guys, if you haven't noticed, some of you are watching this video without hitting the subscribe button. Over 90% of you, yes, 90% of you that are watching this video right now aren't subscribed. So why don't you stick around a little bit longer, hit that subscribe button with notifications turned on, and join the Tweener Head Tennis family to see all types of tennis content here on the channel. And I hope you guys enjoy this interview. Have fun. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for joining us for another fantastic interview today. We have Heath Davidson, 4-time Australian Open champion. How are you doing today, Heath?
Good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Can't complain. It's a little early here, but that's fine. We're grinding it out for the Australian Open. You have to at this point.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's early for you, getting pretty late for me, so.
Oh, you're fine. I bet you've stayed up much later than this celebrating.
Yeah, true.
Well, first off, congratulations on your latest title with Dylan. I mean, that's 4 now for the Australian Open. How does it feel to win 4?
Really good, man. I mean, they just keep getting better. I mean, the first one was special, but I mean, I think just continuing to prove that myself and Dylan are a really good doubles pair, and we can keep fighting it out with the best that they throw at us, and keep winning, man. It feels really good. So,
What makes that chemistry between you and Dylan so special?
I think just because we've been mates for so long, man. Like, I've known Dylan for 20 years this year, and yeah, it's just always been really good mates, and he's probably one of my best mates, actually, and being able to take that out onto the tennis court as well really helps, because, I mean, regardless of what happens out there, I know we're going to be friends and we're going to have a beer at the end of the match, so there's no pressure, and it just, yeah, as long as we're both trying our hardest and we're both doing our best, and that's all we can ask for, so.
Do you think you'll reach 7 like Dylan?
Look, if I can keep Dylan around for another 3 years to do 7 doubles titles in a row, then possibly. But I don't know, man. Like, I'm just going to keep playing tennis, and hopefully I keep improving, and hopefully next year I can steal that singles title off him. That's the big one for me. Having an All-Aussie final and try and steal the limelight. So.
That'd be sick. I think I would also like to know how you got started, because to play tennis competitively like you are with what you've accomplished, I want to know where did this come from? How did you start in the tennis world?
Well, I mean, back when I started, mate, it wasn't supposed to be anything like it is today. I was a very overweight kid, and obviously being in the wheelchair, didn't know what like exercises to do and stuff like that, and just my parents wanted me to try and get a little bit fitter and stuff like that, and we called a local tennis club, and we met a guy named Marco, and he told us to come down. He'd never coached anyone in a wheelchair or anyone with a disability, and yeah, just started going down there and hitting tennis balls, and yeah, it became something that I was really passionate about, and yeah, just continued on for probably 4 to 5 years. When I was younger, I was 14 when I started, and stopped playing when I was about 18 and a half.
Yeah.
Had a bit of time off, and then yeah, came back 6.5 years ago. So
Yeah, because you told me that you stopped playing sport for what, 11 years?
yeah, it was about just on 11 years. So
Why
yeah,
why'd you stop?
just, I mean, being so young and playing sport at a really high level. I represented Australia 3 times when I was a junior in just a lot of junior tournaments, and did a little bit of international travel, and it just was a big commitment, man. Like, everybody else is growing up, and you're sort of playing sport and always away, and you didn't have weekends and stuff like that. And obviously turned 18, mate. And down here, obviously, when you're 18, you're allowed to go out and party and stuff like that. So that sort of took over a little bit. And sort of just lost my way there for a while. And took a long time for me to get back out onto the tennis court. When I did, I fell in love with it all over again. And I guess results and everything speak for themselves now. I think it was a good choice in the end.
I would hope so. You won a gold medal for the men's quad doubles at the 2016 Rio Paralympics. You're a 4-time Australian Open champion. You've won Masters doubles. You made the quarterfinals of the Paralympic Games. I mean, the record speaks for itself. You seem to have you and Dylan have that chemistry that really not a lot of people have.
Yeah, and I think it's just sort of like, obviously with my journey to where I am today, and Dylan having that experience with playing basketball before he started playing tennis. We're two very different people, but we've just been so close as mates for so long that we just work together, and it's fun. And I think that's something that we have over a lot of other teams, that we enjoy doing what we do. And we are very lucky that we're doing it with a best mate. So it's something that we can share together. And it's just really cool. I mean, that doesn't mean that I don't want to knock him off in the singles every time I play him, but
of course,
there's a lot of bad blood out on the court when we're playing singles. I ended up drawing in first round of the Australian Open this year, which was tough. And it's one of those things, like, that day was really bizarre because we didn't talk to each other. It was like we were enemies that day, and it didn't feel right. But to be competitive and to be a professional athlete, you've got to sort of separate your friends from what you're trying to achieve. And he got the better of me that day, but I put up one hell of a fight, and hopefully I can get him next time.
No, of course, that's all you can try to do at that point. Because for me, watching you guys, seeing what you guys are able to do is very incredible. I think what's the first thing that people should know when they watch you on the court, when we go from able-bodied people to watching Paralympic wheelchair tennis? What's the biggest difference you think is when watching that?
Biggest difference is, I mean, the only rule difference is that we get 2 bounces. That is like the only rule difference in able-bodied tennis to wheelchair tennis. But I think the thing you guys have just got to remember, or able-bodied people have to remember, is that we train just as hard and do everything the same. Like, we're busting 6 days a week for hours and hours, and in the gym and doing everything we do. And it's a professional sport for us. Like, I travel 6 months of the year playing competitive, and I'm currently ranked 6 in the world in the singles and 2 in the world in the doubles. So this is my full-time career, and it's what I love doing. And I'm just really grateful that I'm lucky enough to be able to do it, and fortunate enough that I am slightly talented at the sport. So
I wouldn't say slightly talented. I would say very talented at this point. If you're 2 and 6, that's something to be very.
A lot of hard work.
Who inspired you to start tennis, or who has been your inspiration? I would say besides Dylan, who's helped you kind of develop the skills that you have today?
I mean, inspiration to get me into tennis originally would have to be guys like Leighton Hewitt or Roger Federer, Pete Sampras, Andy Roddick, all those guys. I loved Andy Roddick and Pete Sampras because their serve was huge. But probably Marco Percy. So myself and Dylan both started with Marco. He was our first ever coach. Just a really nice guy, and he just sort of kept me really interested and taught me a lot about the sport. And when I stopped playing tennis, we lost contact there for a while. And when I came back, I just threw him a message randomly one day, and he said, "Mate, come back down. I'd love to see ya." And he's not my full-time coach these days, but he comes and steps in at the AO every year because Dylan and myself have the same coach on a day-to-day basis. So just to save like hassles of trying to split times and stuff,
Yeah.
Marco's always there to help me out and helps Dylan out when he can as well. So he's probably the one that's really helped me the most through my whole tennis career. And if he does watch this, I'm very thankful. And yeah, probably him. So
What was the best piece of advice you think he gave you when first starting on the tour?
just that everybody makes mistakes. Try not to try to let them go, which is a lot harder than it sounds. I mean, I do have a bit of a temper on the court. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm as bad as some guys, but I have smashed a racket or two in my time. And yeah, just over the course of the years, been working really hard on my mental game to try and stay calm and sort that stuff out. So yeah, I mean, and just have fun. I guess that's probably the biggest one. Is like you do it, something you love, enjoy it.
Hmm. I think that's the hardest thing to do in tennis. Like the mental side of the game is so hard.
The mental side of the game is much harder than actually the physical side and the technical side of the game. I mean, guys like Novak and Roger and Nadal, like they're just so mentally strong, and that's why they're champions, and that's why they're like world number 1, 2, and 3, and they've won. I think it's close to 60 Grand Slams combined. Like it's crazy, and that's why they've been so good for so long. Like they're just mentally, they're so much better than the other guys. And I mean, these guys are like Rogers, well into his 30s, and like they shouldn't be still winning Grand Slams. And I mean, Novak's about to potentially win his 9th Australian Open. Like it's crazy.
Hey, you can't count yourself out. You're 33 years old. Just won a doubles Grand Slam. I mean you're there too.
Hopefully I can go for a few more years, hopefully. But see how the body goes. We'll get through this year and then we'll reassess.
What's the average length for an athlete like yourself to be on tour?
There are a couple of guys that are floating around that are a tad older than me in my division. You got David Wagner, who's former world number 1 and absolute machine on the tennis court. His skills are mad. You got another guy from Japan who's nearly 40 and he's like ranked 4 in the world. I could probably play for a few more years. I just got to, obviously being a little bit older, you've just got to take care of your body a bit more and do all the right recovery stuff and everything like that. So, I mean, I'm crossing my fingers and just hoping that I can continue playing at a high level and keep moving forward.
Oh, 100%. I think I actually wanted to talk one thing about the training side of how you go through. What's your daily routine look like when training? Because it's all upper body, and it's so strenuous in my mind. Like you could probably bench a truck in my mind the way you guys train.
Used to be able to bench a truck. Now before I came back to tennis, I did powerlifting there for a few years, and I got really strong. And I think my max 1 rep was 107.5 kilos for a dude that weighed 48 kilos. So definitely upper body was quite strong, but obviously transferring that into tennis didn't really help. So had to change my training regime a lot. But daily training for myself is get in there, do like all your pre-stretching and warm up and stuff like that. And then we'd probably hit for about 2.5 hours, go and have something to eat, jump in the gym for a couple of hours, do some fitness and pushing, and then pretty much do recovery stuff and then home. So 4.5 to 5 hours a day, I'm probably doing some sort of training or recovery just to try and keep myself going. And obviously you did mention that it's all upper body, so we mix up the days. Like we don't just hit like heavy chest or heavy back every day or whatever. We sort of split it. I normally do 3 days of strength work, 2 days of mobility work, just to keep everything like in good nick and keep it different, and obviously just not overstimulate the muscles too much. Yeah, because being real bulky on the tennis court's not great. So
it's obviously not. We've seen that it doesn't work unless you're Rafa.
No, it definitely doesn't. Yeah. he's a different kind of beast.
Yeah, exactly. I think for me, Heath, seeing you is very inspirational, and it's very inspirational to others. Do you see yourself as someone that people look up to, or have people reach out to you as someone who has so much success in their sport? How do you feel with inspiring others to play the sport?
I mean, it feels really good and really humbling.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't look at myself as being an inspiration to anyone. To me, it's just what I do.
Mm,
Um, I don't see myself as doing anything different to anybody else that plays professional sport. But
mhm.
on the other hand, I can see how people would look at myself and all the other wheelchair or disabled athletes out there and see it being inspirational. And people have reached out, and I'm always really, really open to talk to people if they need to talk about their disability or if they're struggling, because I've had some hard times in my life and stuff like that. So I'm always on social media and staying in contact with my fans or anyone that wants to just have a chat. Like, I'm really open to that. And yeah, if my story or somebody watches TV and sees me and wants to take up wheelchair tennis or any sport for that matter, I mean, that's a part of what I love to do, and I'm just happy I'm there to help.
Well, Heath, that's amazing, and I really appreciate you coming on, and I really appreciate you taking time to talk to me and tell us your story, because a lot of people need to watch more Paralympics uh, tennis and watch you guys perform, because it's really amazing to see what you guys are able to do on court. And so I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk to me. Is there anything you want to shout out before we wrap up this interview?
No, just thank you very much, man, for having me on. And yeah, stay in touch. Yeah, we'll stay in touch. And when I'm at Roland Garros or Wimbledon, if you want to have another chat, you can keep up to date with everything that's going on the wheelchair circuit and Paralympics and stuff like that. Just give us a shout.
Yeah, for sure, Heath. I really appreciate it. So make sure you go follow him, so you can follow his journey down in the description below. You can follow him. All his social media links are down in the description below. And Heath, I really appreciate you taking time out of your day to talk to us. Thanks again.
Thanks, bro. See ya.